You're watching News Channel 3, the spirit of the North Coast.
It's not an emergency that happens too often, but today, all across the North Coast, many residents practiced what to do in case of a tsunami. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Leslie Buchanan.
And I'm Scott Hurst. Leading off our broadcast tonight, the last tsunami to hit the North Coast happened almost 2 years ago in Crescent City. Sarah Miles joins us now live to tell us about a tsunami warning system that alerts residents of the threat of this emergency. Sarah.
Yeah, Scott, here on King Salmon, residents have the highest risk of being affected by a tsunami. And you can see why right behind me is Humboldt Bay. And today, the National Weather Service conducted a test of its communication system to make sure it worked in case a tsunami actually happened.
This is a test of the emergency alert system.
It was only a test.
And really, this test is about making sure that that whole system works right. The stations I was able to monitor here locally had a crawler that clarified it was a test. They ran a public service announcement on TV stations right before the test.
This morning at 10:22, alerts went out across local television, radio, and NOAA weather radio.
This is only a test.
It's very clear that the majority of TV and radio stations accurately covered the signal. We right away discovered a very small problem in the technology we had here in the office, and gingerly stepped over that, went to our first of many backup methods.
Nicolini's main concern was making sure those who were hard of hearing or deaf knew of the test.
And we actually put in place, I would say, some very, very significant and aggressive measures to reach out to those members of the community so that they would know about the test beforehand.
This is the first of its kind to take place in Humboldt County and even in California.
We plan to do additional counties next year, but we will move beyond Humboldt County next year.
But not even everyone in Humboldt County heard the test. If you weren't around a radio or television or returned to a non-local channel, it's likely you didn't even know a test was being conducted.
And somebody suggested that, text messaging on cell phones, and those are actually technologies. We're chasing down some of those technologies and trying to bring those to bear on the challenges we face here in Humboldt County.
But not to worry, if it were an actual tsunami.
What they should do if they hear a real tsunami warning is basically, if they're on a beach, get off the beach and then get more information. Turn on the radio or TV and find out what's going on.
Something that hasn't happened in the area since November of 2006. Tsunami that happened in 1996 in Crescent City didn't kill anyone, but in 1964, 11 people were killed by the only tsunami known to kill people in the continental United States. Live in King Salmon, Sarah Miles, News Channel 3.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, along with making sure the tsunami test ran smoothly, the National Weather Service's main concern was that the public understand it was only a test. Jill Weaver hears from the public on how it went and why many missed it altogether.
A test of the tsunami warning system went off around 10:30 this morning, a test not everyone heard.
I don't watch many TV shows or TV at all, actually.
I'm not watching TV or radio right now at this time of the day.
In fact, of at least a dozen people we spoke to, only one person saw it, and barely.
We had to primarily look for it on the TV channels.
But over at the National Weather Service, it's a different story.
Good afternoon, National Weather Service.
Where workers like Debbie Ritchie have been manning phones and the web for public feedback.
So far, we've received about 60 through the internet and about 35 through the phone.
All supporting the first ever live test.
The reactions are mostly energetic, happy, glad to help out and to give their input.
Input as well as suggestions and questions, like why was it held so early in the day?
I've had that question asked. Why aren't you doing it in the evening when people are home watching TV?
The answer is the Weather Service wanted to keep it at the same time other tests typically run. Another question many of the people we spoke to had was why no sirens?
Sirens would be good for the people that don't watch TV or listen to the radio like me.
Mostly we just wanted, since this was the first test, to keep it just low profile, and then maybe in future tests we'll include the sirens.
Even without the sirens, most people got the message, even if you weren't at the right place, right time, or on the right channel.
I was pretty clear that it was a test and that, not to do anything or be worried.
The following tones will conclude this test.
Jill Weaver for News Channel 3.
The Weather Service will be taking public feedback on the test for a week. You can do so by calling the number you see on your screen there, or you can visit that website.